Before then, something I'm even more excited to talk about. Bunnings NPC.
Yeah.
How good. You would have been up and about 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, Paul.
I really enjoyed it. Talking about Wellington.
No, Eastbourne, big win. No, obviously Wellington put up a huge score on Northland.
And they looked impressive doing it too.
Suffolk couldn't get over the line, though.
No, unfortunately. Yeah, it was one of the few players who didn't.
I was like, when I pulled out my phone and saw what the score was, you could have given me any price and not the score, and I would have taken it. Yeah.
You would have taken him scoring 2.
Oh yeah, easy.
You would have seen who scored in the Hawke's Bay game though, Paul.
Oh, here we go.
Your man Ash Dixon.
Ash Dixon.
Yeah.
But were the Lions the most impressive team to you in week 1?
I think so. They looked very, very good. Obviously, having a couple of All Blacks slide into the squad really makes a difference. And I think the fact that TJ was there made Love, gave him that freedom.
You'll find out this week because TJ's not there.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
But he would have gained a lot from there.
Yeah, even just having TJ in camp, obviously, I think that he's very vocal and very keen to help out all the younger guys and around training and everything like that. So would have, I'm sure he's imparting a lot of wisdom on to the likes of Ruben and Aidan Morgan and whoever else the Lions have in their halves.
Well, he played a few games in the 10 jersey for Norths this season.
I think he played every position in the backline for Norths at one stage or another. Maybe he was trying to play 15 for the Lions. That'd be interesting.
Umang and Jensen looked all right.
Goes all right.
Yeah.
Is there another New Zealand team he's eligible for that needs some help in the midfield?
Okay, I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
But my mind's gone black.
How about you, Carl? Who else stood out to you from the performances in week 1 of the Bunnings?
You setting me up here, aren't you? You got to give a shout out to your boys.
Oh, I mean, too. They're going to get mentioned very shortly, one way or another. You can.
That was a big win for the Turbos. Not only in score, but first they were reasonably big outsiders, weren't they?
Yeah, I think it was the line was 4.5, so they
for
were
game 1, so
around that $2.50 mark
at home. So it was good stuff by them. Taranaki, like we thought, got off to a flyer, let the Hawke's Bay back into it a little bit. Got a little bit edgy at the end there.
Still managed to get outside the 1-12 margin.
Yeah, that late intercept try. I don't know who that winger was, but man, he was fast.
Yeah, they got a few flyers down
fast.
There were a few 13 and overs.
There were. Tasman also 13 plus against Bay of Plenty on Sunday afternoon.
The Boneyard, of course.
Yes, of course.
Wellington.
Waikato.
Taranaki. It was only the Auckland Canterbury game?
Canterbury. That looked like it was going to be 13 plus for the majority.
Early on, it did, yeah.
Canterbury did well to come back there.
Yeah.
Then Auckland did well to hold on.
Getting ready to make all sorts of jokes about Canterbury having to watch out for relegation again. But just a couple of games in the 1-12 margin. But I think for me, I touched on it just there, but Tasman, but not maybe the score doesn't jump off the page when you look at it. But 27-14, pretty comfortable victory over Bay of Plenty and trying conditions in Tauranga. It's not going to be an easy place to go and win throughout the season. Bay of Plenty are going to be a very solid side. Just the depth and strength they've got in their forward pack, and then the halves as well. Yeah, for me, what I saw from Tasman is that they're a team that are going to be physically dominate a lot of sides going forward, and they know that, and they can switch it on and just rumble over teams when they need to. So they're probably my standout team from the round, and I'm still pretty happy I've got them on side as my pick to win the whole thing. Are there either of you two reassessing any preseason predictions after what we saw in week 1?
Possibly. Ooh. Look, I'd
like to take my RTS top try scorer call back straight away.
Is that because you don't think he's going to score enough, or because you think he's going to be scoring tries for another team?
No, I don't think he'll score enough.
Right.
And AJ Lamb's already got three try head start.
True.
Even though Wellington were impressive, I've been here before, and they always tend to throw in a couple of very, very average performances during the season to take themselves out of contention. I actually quite like the Mulu plus the points this week. against Wellington.
It would be pretty Wellington to go and drop a game to like that.
Yeah, but I thought Tasman were very, very impressive in that win. It's never an easy trip to go up to the Bay of Plenty and take the boys on there. So they did very, very well. And when they get back home, they'll be very, very hard to beat. And even though Auckland are going down there, I'll give Tasman a big, big chance of going 2 from 2.
That sort of brings us on nicely to what I'd have to say is maybe the game of the regular season almost. It's early, but week 2, Tasman,
probable final, perhaps.
Yeah, could this decide where the
home ground
played?
Yeah.
I think it's probably come a bit early in the season for Auckland. Just look, they certainly look to have plenty about them against Canterbury on Sunday afternoon, but there were maybe just those little lapses here and there, and I think that's what'll spell doom against Tasman. Yes, we saw in the Bay of Plenty game, you can't switch off for even a minute against this Tasman team. They're so well drilled, and with the news midweek that Shannon Frizzell is going to be available for selection as well, that's made a already pretty imposing forward pack even more stronger. So, yeah, I'm pretty keen on Tasman as just a very small favourites home. I think they're $1.67 and -2.5 in the point start market. Sounds like both of you guys
Take the minus.
On the same page.
Yeah, I think so.
Fins up on the podcast.
Fins up. A few concerns
no fins up
around. Yeah, like I said, Auckland switching off like they did against Canterbury.
Yeah,
did well to hold on, but yeah.
I'm pretty excited about what we might see from Tasman there. Then,
Shield Challenge.
Yeah, that was just after that kicks off the. Are they still the Razorbacks? Or are they
what?
Otago Razorbacks, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Bring back Shaq the Cat.
How good.
He was great.
Meow.
Maybe he'll be out there lifting the shield at McLean Park.
No, he won't be.
No?
No one will be lifting the shield?
Well, you won't lift it. It'll just be staying where it is.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what's going to happen.
Hawke's Bay weren't exactly, they weren't.
They didn't look great.
Yeah.
Give me Hawke's Bay all day this weekend.
All right.
Should we ever wager on this, Paul? Podcast wager.
What are we putting on it? A curry?
Yeah, we put a curry on it.
Done.
Head to head, or are you giving Carl the start?
You mean it's for the shield?
All right.
Who wins the game?
Fair enough.
Yep, I'm happy to take the 240.
The first official curry bet of the season. It's exciting. I don't really have a strong opinion on this game. I kind of think Otago might have been playing with. It's weird to say. You think Southland first week they would have been well up for it, but I think they might have had one eye on this. It's Hawke's Bay not being quite as strong as they were last year, especially with just the absence of Falau Fakatava in particular. I think they might have this circle as a very good opportunity to get their hands back on the shield. Seems like they've had it plenty in the recent years.
For one game at a time.
Yeah, that's true. Good. And the real reason I wouldn't like to see Otago get up, because I think Canterbury go down to the lunchbox a week later if you do win it. So
yep, there's another 1 weeker.
Yeah,
Do they? No.
Am I misspoken? I was sure Canterbury were lined up to get the next Shield Challenge if.
Round 4.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're up in Northland.
2 weeks later.
2 weeks
we'll
later.
Hope for 2 weeks. That's all right.
Always good to get the head. Mate, I would do a lot for the Shield to spend 10 days in Palmerston North. Yeah.
And then if they hang on to it against Canterbury, you got Auckland the week after.
Yeah, right. So no, I think
it's be tough scenes for the boys.
Hopefully for the good of the provinces, Hawke's Bay can hold on to it at least.
God, they'd have to defend it 4 times in a row. Tough scenes.
When was the last time the green and white saw the shield?
About 13 years before I was born.
Like late 60s, early 70s?
Late 70s it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was that the where were Mark Donaldson era?
Yeah, there's the real Frank Oliver was.
Frank Oliver.
Gary Knight, Bruce Samara.
With the bucket heads around.
Cowboy?
I think that might have even been pre-Cowboy. It was a bit later, yeah. There's always been a few bucket heads floating around Palmerston North. Not that I was floating around Palmerston North those days.
A few stories about those bucket heads.
I've heard that story. Back on track.
That's why they call it the boneyard.
I think,
yeah, exactly.
The odds would suggest those are probably going to be the 2 most competitive games of the weekend. You've already said you might think Waikato worth a little bit of a bet as
Waikato plus the points, yes.
Outsiders.
Yep.
Any other favourites look vulnerable to you though?
I was going to say Canterbury, but no. Yeah.
I think you'll find last time Manawatu went down to the Garden City, they took 5 points back to Palmerston North with them.
North Harbour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I know counties were disappointing against Manawatu. They didn't really get the chance to play this style of game.
They made a lot of silly mistakes.
They did.
It was a very... They looked dangerous. I was never super comfortable with the lead, even when it was out plus 2 converted tries, but they couldn't get their momentum going. They'd kick a ball dead. They'd go sideways and then drop the ball. They seemed to be wanting, it was the old, you win the game up front, then go wide adage. They just weren't committing enough numbers to the breakdown to really get the overlaps they needed to, I thought, counties.
They've had a week to have a look at that, and I'm sure they'll make a few adjustments, come out better for that. And so, yeah, I think they're a chance at home against Harbour.
Fair enough. How about you, Carl? Anyone you're putting an upset alert?
Blue and gold?
I don't mind. Well, blue and gold, yeah, for sure. But outside of that, just having a wee look at the weather watch for Invercargill on Sunday afternoon.
Even if they're not raining, someone will have rigged up some irrigation to turn Rugby Park into a swimming pool.
Fine with some high cloud.
Okay, yeah.
Well, that's how Southland started the season last season. They played a couple of games down there in terrible conditions.
Hawke's Bay down there in an absolute gale, from what I recall.
And beat them.
Yeah.
Beat them, and then Hawke's Bay went on, got the shield, and got promotion.
So I don't mind the 14.5 there. At home, they were pretty good against. This didn't go away against Otago on the weekend.
They're certainly making strides. From where they were a couple of years ago. Last year they were very competitive throughout the season. And yeah, I think they've got add maybe a little bit more flair or top end talent this season once again.
Yep, Marnie Banks kicking goals from all over the park. So yeah,
as long as he wasn't on the Spates all week, that should be. I think I expect to see them put up a bit of a fight. That's one actually. We'll get to it in our best bets, but obviously. NPC bonus back is running on all 7 games again this weekend.
Yes, it is.
Paul,
it is indeed.
Do you want to give the punters the details there?
Oh, sure. Place a pre-match winning team and margin bet. And if your team wins, but you pick the incorrect margin, so let's say you take Manawatu to win by 12 and under against Canterbury, and they win, but they win by 13 and over, then we'll give you your stake back,
for example,
as a bonus bet up to $30. Oh, you want? Okay, sorry. Say you take Hawke's Bay to win by 12 and under against Otago,
for example,
on Saturday, and they win by 13 and over. Then we'll give you your stake back up to $30 as a bonus bet. So yeah, that's on all NPC games in week 2. It's the winning team and margin, and it's the 12 and under, 13 and over winning team and margin.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, I thought Bay of Plenty 1 to 12 at $3.50 might be worth a little look in that particular game with that bonus back in play, because I would still be surprised if Southland managed to get the winners $5.20 underdogs, but with that little bit of extra insurance, the $3.50, probably worth a little nibble there.
14.1, everyone wins.